In the early hours of the 2nd of June 2010, Derrick Bird left his home in Rora, Cumbria, and drove his Citroen Zara Picasso to his twin brother's house in Lamplugh. After a long and lengthy heated discussion, he shot him 11 times in the head and body with a .22 caliber rifle. He sadly passed away. Bird then drove to Fritzingen, arriving at the home of the family solicitor Kevin Commons. Bird prevented Commons from driving away by firing twice with a double-barrel shotgun, which he had earlier sawn off. Hitting him once in the shoulder, Commons staggered out of his car and onto the entrance to his farmyard. Bird then stepped forward and killed him with 2 rifle shots to the head. Soon later at 10:20 a.m, the police were telephoned while Bird moved towards Whitehaven. A witness called the Cumbria constabulary to report the common shooting. Although her call was delayed by several minutes after she asked neighbours what she should be doing, she also erroneously described Bird as being armed with an air rifle, despite being able to hear the gunshots. Bird then went to his friend's house to receive a shotgun that he had loaned him. He wasn't in, so he couldn't retrieve it, so he moved on. He headed to the taxi rank of Duke Street in Whitehaven. There he called over a fella called Darren Rewcastle, another taxi driver who was previously known to Bird. Bird had conflicts with Rewcastle over the years, hating him, accusing him of poaching fares, and there was an incident where Rewcastle damaged the tyres on Bird's taxi and openly boasted about it. When Rewcastle approached Bird's taxi, he was shot twice at point-blank range, with the rifle hitting him in the lower face, chest and abdomen. Rewcastle died of his injuries, becoming the only person to die in Whitehaven during the attack. Soon after killing Rewcastle, Brian drove alongside another taxi driver, Donald Reed, and shot him in the back, wounding him. He then looped back round the taxi rank and stopped alongside another taxi driver named Paul Wilson as he walked down Scott Street. He called him over to his vehicle as he did with Rawcliffe. When Wilson answered his call, Bird shot him in the right side of the face with the shotgun, severely wounding him. As a result of the shootings, unarmed officers at the local police station were informed and began following Bird's taxi as he drove onto Coach Road. There, Bird fired his shotgun at a passing taxi, injuring the male driver Terry Kennedy and the female passenger Emma Percival. Bird was then able to flee the officers after he aimed his shotgun at 2 of them, forcing them to take cover. However, he did not fire. He instead took advantage of the officer's distraction and escaped. This is where he stops his targeted attacks on people he knows and taxi drivers he hated and turned to the public. He soon went sinister. The body count now is 3 with 1 injured. It's soon going to get a lot higher. You'd think now he'd be done. He's hurt or killed people who he had a serious beef with, his colleagues who he thought bullied him, his twin brother, and the family solicitor who he thinks screwed him. But it wasn't over for Bird. In 1990, he resigned from Sellafield nuclear power plant where he was working as a carpenter. He was accused of stealing wood. He was given a 12-month suspended sentence for stealing the wood and was very, very angry about it still all these years later. So he headed off in that general direction and started shooting at people that he saw on the way. That afternoon he killed a further 9 people, bringing his total to 12, and injured another 11, making this Britain's 3rd most deadly spree massacre behind Hungerford and Dunblane. By dinner time, 12:30, he was seen by 2 cyclists. As he sped off after shooting at them, he crashed his car into a wall, damaging a tyre. It was from here he removed the rifle from his boot of his car and headed into the woods. Shortly after, a police search revealed his dead body. He had taken his own life in the woods. Now, what makes this case so strange is that there were so many possible motives, yet no one really knew the truth. His neighbour said nobody really knew him. He didn't have any friends, didn't really know anyone, and he kept himself to himself. Yet behind that closed doors, he had a very strange story to tell. His best friend claimed he'd been humiliated by having a Thai girlfriend who he met on holiday in Pattaya, Thailand. It was claimed that he gave her £1,000 gift and then never heard from her again, getting completely ghosted. Another theory is that he just had enough of it all. He wanted to end his own life and was just going to take anyone he can with him. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, though, claimed there was £60,000 in a secret bank account, and that he was worried he would go to prison for hiding the cash from the government. Now, the police put out an appeal for information, wanting to know where this £60,000 came from, but nobody could work it out, and I don't think anyone has ever worked it out. £60,000 is probably about 3 years' pay for a taxi driver, so it was a huge sum of money to him. I think him leaning towards Sellafield shows that he had great anger towards them. Even though this is 20 years later, 3 of the dead were former employees. Although there's no evidence to show that the 3 people had anything to do with him back in 1990, he certainly headed in that direction and certainly wanted to do harm to its employees. And the final and more plausible theory is that he was embroiled in a big family feud over his father's will. That would explain why he killed his twin brother and the family solicitor. The £60,000 didn't come from the will though, and that money is still a mystery. What are your theories on this? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you and good night.